saluting the brave men and women of America, our heroes, our veterans. They make incredible sacrifices and risk their lives to defend our nation. First, how a mother is carrying on the legacy of her son, a fallen soldier, and how she is now helping other veterans in the Garden State. Then, Vet to Vet, the peer support group that's making a real difference, and how one nonprofit is helping returning veterans get back to work. It's all ahead on New Jersey Now. Welcome to New Jersey Now. I'm Jim McQueenie. Today we're going to pay who have gone overseas to defend America. And we have with us here the mother of one of those, Marion Zilinski, who has a foundation, a memorial fund for your son here, and we want to talk about that, and as well as Sergeant Mike Menard, who served over there as well. Marion, it's a terrible thing to lose a son. It's a horrible thing to lose a son overseas like that. But as you have said, it's the issue of honor as well, and it's an issue of defending the country as well. But take us back here to who is your son? Let's talk about that. In present tense, who's your son?
He's a wonderful young man, very dedicated to his faith in God, his support of his country, and most of all, I think his family and the community at large.
And he was a West Point grad on top of that.
Yes, he graduated in the class of 04.
And what were the circumstances over there that happened?
Well, he went into West Point, and I guess every parent's dream that out of 15,000 applicants that your child is chosen as one of the incoming classmates. Very proud to be his mom. And then 9/11 happened, and suddenly I was afraid. And I asked him, well, I didn't really ask him, I told him that I wanted him to leave West Point. And at that point he said to me, "You don't quit West Point." And I said, "Oh, yes you do." And he said, "No." He said, "I would never leave West Point, not now when my country needs me the most."
And he went to Iraq. He was deployed to Iraq.
Yes, he was deployed to Iraq in 2005. He left on September 17th, and he was killed on November 19th of 2005.
And so after that, in honor of Dennis, you founded a fund, the Memorial Fund here. And what does the fund do? For whom?
Well, we started out originally with a run, and we call it Run for Dennis. And it's at the PNC Arts Center in Homedale. It's a very grueling run, and we did that for a reason. We didn't want it on flat surface. We wanted the people to recognize the sacrifice of what goes into being a serviceman or woman in this country. So it is very hilly, it's very challenging, and the public really enjoys that. We don't attract runners that are there to make better times because they can't.
And then I think in the process of this, along came Sandy as well and brought up a lot of issues of where vets like Mike here ran into some issues of being able to recover from that storm. And I think maybe you tell the story how Mike and you got together about. Yeah.
Mike was injured prior to Sandy. And when he was coming home, you know, a big challenge is most homes are not built to enable handicapped accessibility. So changes have to be made to their home. And we heard that Mike was coming home and his home needed renovations. And at first they started out they were going to do renovations only. And then they discovered that it needed to be redone. So a lot of organizations stepped forward, such as ours, and became a project within the community, and a lot of people, volunteers, all of the contractors volunteer their time.
Mike, how did the process of help to you, a wounded veteran, come?
It was significant. The amount of help and support from Homes for Troops, from Lieutenant Dennis Zilinski, the Memorial Fund, from so many. It was overwhelming at the time. It was amazing, though, nonetheless.
Well, with Marion's foundation for her son Dennis here, how did that start, Mike, with the help that you got?
It actually started with the community. The community was
and that community is where in New Jersey?
Union Beach, Monmouth County, New Jersey.
Particularly hard hit, of course, by Sandy. Terrible.
Significant impact, but they're coming back slowly, working on it. The towns pulled together to do a lot of the storm. There was a lot of volunteering going on, a lot of support from outside of the town and outside of the state too, but it was everywhere.
Can I ask a more general question of both of you, by the way?
Okay.
What is the greatest need for returning vets and wounded vets?
I think personally, support from the community at large. As a mother of a soldier that was killed, I want to help as many of these young men and women as we possibly can. For example, a lot of the soldiers that are returning with post-traumatic stress and/or TBI injuries, we found that service dogs enable them to reacclimate themselves back into the community. These dogs...
Will your memorial fund named after your son, is this an area you're looking at as well as a principal?
Well, we have. Okay. We have the Canine Sergeant Denny Project. Not only do we support our military working dogs that are presently serving overseas, but we purchase service dogs for wounded warriors. We have purchased 10 dogs so far, and we pay $10,000 each.
Wow.
And it gets these wounded servicemen and women off of medicated drugs, and it reacclimates them back into the community at large, and it gives them back their lives.
Mike, I'd like to ask you a question here. With the repairs that were done through Marion, the foundation here, what would you have to say to Marion about it?
Marion, thank you for everything. Everything you do. It's amazing. All of it.
You know it's our pleasure, Mike. I just wish we met you under different circumstances, obviously.
I do too. Thank you.
And Marion, we also want to say to you, thank you for the service of what you're doing now and the service of what your son was doing then.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, we'll be right back. Coming up, veterans helping veterans.